forget about New York, Chicago, and big cities like that, because I don't know how one city could just say they're the city, but that's San Francisco.
Yeah, San Francisco calls itself. I've noticed that the San Francisco calls itself the city. So
Mhm.
they're the city. Oakland is the town, and then like I guess San Jose's South Bay, but like to everyone else, that's like the Silicon Valley or East
Yeah,
San Jose, which is like completely different world.
or even
So
further, East Sacramento,
right. I,
actually.
I don't think that people in the Bay quite understand how people out of the Bay look at the Bay. Like
Yeah,
there are
you
many
know,
cities
I mean,
in yeah.
yeah, they get. It's like I think what it is. I went to school there. I went to the American Conservatory Theater in San Francisco.
Yeah.
American Conservatory Theater in San Francisco, where
Yeah.
I learned theater and I was able to perform. And I learned standard American speech, where I spoke like a standard American. And I
Yeah.
started looking. I was like, where is standard America? I kept looking for it because I was like, if I'm doing an accent from standard America, I want to know where standard American. And then they said, no, no, it's not really necessarily standard American. It's mid-Atlantic. It's a mid-Atlantic accent. So I'm going, okay, is that like between England and the United States? So in the middle of the ocean, there's some group of people that has a mid-Atlantic dialogue
It's
that
like a
sounds like this.
Greenland accent.
We're from Mid-Atlantic. Yes, we're from the mid-Atlantic area. And Colonel Burr Sterling, all that stuff was like to me was insane because it was making you fit that little box. You know what I'm saying? Little box.
So you
Those are
were
the things
learning
I
how to have a mid-Atlantic accent
yes.
on the
Yes.
West Coast
Mm-hmm.
in a city of only about 700,000, less than a million people, that calls itself the city,
City.
right?
Chicago is not a
It's
city.
like three times the population
Big
of San Francisco.
yeah, yeah. The city, which is basically in their mind Pacific Heights. That's about it. Like Pacific Heights, the city, Silicon Valley. It should be just the richest areas because it's so expensive to live there. It's insane. I mean, when I went to school there, I remember they had a place with a soup kitchen, and it was like all these fancy soups, and you got one free bowl, and if you want to, you can go back and get a second bowl. So every student at ACT figured this thing out. I'll just get a dirty bowl and walk up and say, "Can I get my second bowl?" And they get another bowl. So these guys are just milking them for just money, bowls and bowls of soup. It got to a point where I hated eating that much soup. I was worried it would infect my intestines, like I would not know how to deal with solid food. Like I'd become some sort of a Gerber baby because I could only have liquid food.
Well, what
You
if
know
you
what I'm
got like
saying?
creamy soup?
Well, yeah, but I'm a little lactose intolerant. So imagine that creamy soup for me. It's like that's just not good. It's not
Yeah.
good for me. I was a poor actor back then,
Yeah, no,
as
that that
opposed now.
that that's catch 20 soup. That's what that is.
Oh, well, this is before top ramen was invented. If I had known about top ramen, that would have been a meal for a week. But I was very poor. In fact, my sister at the time came up to see
Your
me
sister
in
at the
San
time?
Francisco. The time, my sister at the time went up to San Francisco to see me, and she cried after seeing me. She cried. She had tears. And I felt bad for her, but it was like that's
Because
what
she
I
saw
wanted. I
you,
wanted
because
my
she
art.
saw like how your position is soup disarray.
She saw me just ripping off soup, making a living ripping off soup. Doing that world.
She saw you in a
Uh,
soupy stew of
just grabbing
discontent.
food whenever I could. Roasting
Yeah.
a pigeon, calling it duck. Anything to survive. Taking ketchup, put it in a bowl of water, and calling it tomato bisque soup. Anything. Going to like what was it called? Oh, rummaging in trash cans behind the better restaurants, so it's at least 5 star.
Yeah.
Those were the days. It was tough. It was tough, man. It was
Yeah.
tough.
Yeah.
And I came from a Mexican family. I came from a very extremely Mexican family. Extreme.
Well, how
Like
Mexican?
they were so. I didn't understand them. Couldn't understand half the words they said. It's how Mexican. I couldn't understand them. I was like, por favor, más despacio, más despacio. Okay, okay. So imagine what my upbringing did to me.
Yeah.
That's what messed up with my comedy in my head, because when you can't even talk to your own family because they're not they're refusing to speak like I do, and and saying sometimes I wouldn't understand what they'd say to me because they would give me advice or whatever, and it'd be like cavemen. I'd be like, I go, what, Dad? You want me to pass the
Yeah.
salt? No, Dad. What, was Timmy stuck on a well? What's going on? It was like that kind of miscommunication.
Yeah.
That's a Lassie reference for you.
Yeah, I got it. So speaking of cavemen, right? You're originally from Encino, so you are the original Encino man.
Well, I yes, I was the original Encino man, but I was born in San Diego, California. I came from the hood. I came from Barrio Logan,
Okay.
Ba- Barrio Logan, and I moved to Barrio La Mesa, which was affluent, really rich, really cool. But we're still poor. And the only time you really
You're still poor. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah. So it's kind of like that movie, The Slums of Beverly Hills, some of that.
yeah, it was like everyone around me was rich, and I'm super poor. I mean, it was like I didn't really because when it was back in the barrio, back in the hood, I thought I was normal. And then I went with the rich kids. It was like just the messes up your head. There were three other Latinos there, kids, Mexican kids, in that whole area, about 5 block area of La Mesa, the barrio La Mesa, the table, right? I'm translating for you for a second. But barrio La Mesa, right? Three, count three Mexican families. One
Yeah.
kid lived on a chicken ranch down the street from me. He lived on a little chicken ranch. His name's Juan Vargas. And he was there, and he was really Mexican. I thought he was more Mexican than me because his families, it was like visiting mariachis, like 24/7. They lived in a chicken ranch. A chicken walked through their front room,
Yeah.
shocked the hell out of me. I went back to the refrigerator, took out a beer, poured himself one, watched a little Chente on. It was like really Mexican.
Yeah.
And we all every culture has that where you're the one guy going, I'm Mexican, but I'm not that kind of Mexican.
Yeah.
It was the
Yeah.
same thing. There was him, and there was another girl, Choas, who lived up the street, and she was a scientific girl, kind of scientific algebra, all that stuff, really smart. She became Elena Choa, the first Mexican American astronaut.
Oh
And Juan
wow.
Vargas, Juan Vargas is a congressman in the United States Congress.
So the guy, the one with the chicken.
Yes,
Okay.
three of them, all from that area. And
Wow.
me, I didn't do as well as those guys. So what? You want to put it over my head, make me feel guilty for the rest of my life? I could have been a congressman. I didn't do it. I could have been an astronaut. I didn't do it. Yeah, they're the big ones. Okay, they're the big ones from La Mesa, but still not bad.
Bronze medal's not bad. Like the bronze is still a medal, right?
Well, hey,
Bronze is still a medal.
I'm showing up to the place. Something. Oh,
Hey,
that's my
congratulations.
Luna. No. Por favor, Luna. She speaks. She's from Fresno.
Your dog is from Fresno.
That's why I talked to her only in Spanish. So she's a rescue from Fresno. I don't think she ever learned English. So I'm very, I'll talk to her in Spanish, and I know she gets it.
Yeah.
To confuse her, every once in a while, I'll throw in some English. Sit there and go like, remember, I speak 2 languages.
Was there anybody in La Mesa that you felt more Mexican than?
I would have to say, that I was more Mexican than.
Yeah, because you keep talking to people who are more Mexican than you. I want to I want to see where you put yourself in the spectrum.
Okay, there was one kid. His name was Hans Gerber.
You were more Mexican than Hans Gerber. Okay.
Mexican Hans Gerber. He was one of those yodeler guys in the Lederhosen, and he had done was with Sound of Music over 20 times in various community theaters. So I was more Mexican than that guy. That guy looked at me like, wow, that guy's Mexican.
Right, but Hans Gerber was also, despite his lack of Mexicanness, he was an impressive human being that still accomplished something in the field of,
Yeah, he was the Gerber baby. The Gerber baby. That's what he was. He was a model. Started off as Gerber baby. You ever read his biography? Crazy.
Wait a minute. You're telling me the Gerber baby is also from La Mesa?
Yes.
So you're falling down this list very rapidly, Rick.
You're supposed to. If I'm letting you interview me, you're supposed to be protecting me.
I you know what? I'm trying to protect you from yourself, but you keep bringing up these very impressive people. I can't help you. All right, so I'll do that right now. We're joined this hour Rick Najera, who is an actor, a comedian, a writer, a show producer, the third most impressive Mexican from his neighborhood so far. And we're very excited to talk about some of the things that you've accomplished over the years. So Rick, I want you to tell me about this book, Almost White.
Wow, I'm glad you bring up that book.
Yeah.
I think the book really came out of the fact. Um, People would look at me in Hollywood sometimes, and I'm güero. You know, güero.
Mhm.
That means light skin, tall, good-looking Latino male. It means in Spanish. Güero means
You
Asian.
tall?
Yeah.
Okay.
No offense. Compared to, I don't want to get politically incorrect, but compared to most Mexicans, I'm
Saw a
fair.
picture of you next to some people. You did not look that tall. All right, go on.
Yeah, there was a basketball team. It was the Lakers. Okay, it was the Lakers. So that's
Go on. I'm
what
sorry.
happened.
Go on. I'm here to protect you, Rick, but you can't make outrageous claims.
I know.
I
Okay,
have to
help
maintain
me
my
land.
credibility.
Yeah, help me land this interview. So okay, um, what was the question?
Your book.
Oh, my book, Almost White. Yeah,
Yeah. You made this outrageous claim that you were all tall.
yeah, yeah. So Almost White was actually a cool book. It got a lot of great critical reviews and stuff, and people really liked it. And it was what happened was these publishers wanted me to come up with a book, and they'd like my life and different stuff. I'd been on Broadway and been in TV and films and wrote movies, and I sounded pretty cool to those guys, and so they wanted me to write a book, but I didn't know what I was going to write about. So I was overworked, and my family was like, "Hey, we want to go to San Diego," and I said, "You guys should go ahead. I have to. I was going to teach a class, so I'm going to teach a class, and you guys go ahead." So during that night, something happened. My fever broke to like 105 degrees, and I hit my head, and I ended up in a coma for 2 weeks. I was I was number three in the Glasgow coma scale, and it starts at three. Now, why Glasgow makes a coma scale, I have no idea. What's with the Scottish people that they would be into comas. They know make a scale called the Glasgow coma scale, but they know everything about comas, and I was in a big one, so I got out. So when I came out of when they taken the incubator or whatever it is, intubator out of my throat and everything, they said I started waking up from the coma, and I didn't know what had happened to me. And it took them a couple years after that, and eventually some brain surgeries to figure out I had a rare problem in my head. It was called encephalocele, one of the most dangerous things you can get. So I had that. So it was quite a journey, getting myself physically back. And so when I came out of the coma, my publisher finally got a hold of me, and she said, "Rick, where have you been?" And I said, "I'm okay. I was in a coma, but I'm lucid. Don't worry." She goes, "You're going to speak at the World Bank in 2 weeks." And I said, "Sure, I'll be able to walk by then. I'll do a good speech at the World Bank. I'll be fine." And I did. And then she goes, "What about your book? What are you doing?" And I don't know what to write yet. She goes, "Just write about you. Just write about your life. What's your life? Everything from Hollywood to whatever. Just what you're thinking. Comas. Brain surgery. Resetting life. Everything." So that's where the book came from. Almost White: Forced Confessions of a Latino in Hollywood. Because I was in Hollywood and I saw a lot of things that I didn't agree with or like, and I just saw the racism is so rampant in Hollywood. It's so rampant, people don't even notice it. It's like, oh well, the Mexican shouldn't play a doctor. Are you kidding me? Why would that happen? Oh, why is a black person in the Genius Bar in the Apple Store scene? What are we doing here? It's like that little stuff. Those tiny 1,000,000,000 ones of those hits is what you experience. So that's where the book came from. But it's still funny. People do like it because it has some funny stuff in it.
Yeah.
Because they can't be serious all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean that brings us to an interesting question because there's a lot of going on right now with the this fight for like representation. I mean, I know that in the publishing world, there was this big thing, Dignidad Literaria, where the people were struggling to because of that the book American Dirt. So a lot of people were involved in that. But there's also things going on in Hollywood. I know that like Lalo Alcaraz is involved in, and I know that of some other people are involved in with this idea, of like we need a certain amount of representation because we're so underrepresented, not just on the screen, but like behind the scenes as well. I mean, it's like or we're
Yeah,
underrepresented on the screen because we're represented behind the scenes, right? I mean, that's kind of why, right? I mean, these things are not disconnected. So, can you talk a little bit about just like how bad it is?
well, are you asking me, am I against Lalo for doing that, or am I for Lalo?
I'm not bringing up Lalo. Lalo refused to come on because he's scared because he heckled Joshua Silverstein and he doesn't want to be heckled himself. And Lalo, I don't know if Lalo remembers, like he's had me on his show several times. But the first time I was on, they punked me because I was wearing a members only jacket. And it wasn't even really a real members only jacket. It was like a knockoff members only jacket. So I couldn't find a members only jacket. But I thought that, well, okay, you
Aren't
have to
members
understand. Was that?
themselves? Isn't members jack a knockoff itself of a knockoff?
Yeah. Well, you have to understand, right? Okay. This is 2009, 2010, and I at the time am a slam poet, right? And so like I just see what people wear doing slam poetry, and at the time, that's what they were doing, or that's what some of them. That's what the people who were winning the slams were doing.
Well, with me, I'd get like a Peruvian panpipe, and I just wear like a Peruvian serape and have the Peruvian look when I did my slam poetry back then. What I was doing.
Yeah, I mean, well, you're an innovator. I was just getting started.
That's what I would tell people. They'd hear the panpipe, that whole thing, they go, "Oh shit, he's about to spit some rhymes. It's
he's
about to
about
get
to he's about to change the game
real
yet
poetry up
again.
in here. Yeah, real poetry up in here. That's
Yeah,
what.
hey, he's gonna change the game in the beginning, and by the last stanza, he will change it back.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
And
right.
sometimes, and I go battle, and then do a whole rhyme thing. It was
Right.
crazy. I was.
So I was wearing the members only jacket because I had not yet found my voice, and they clowned me immediately. Boxy D and all of them were just like ruthless. So what I ended up doing was doing research on Lalo, doing research on Jeffrey Keller, doing research on Boxy D. Yeah,
These guys.
yeah. So
Oh
the
no.
second time I came on, I like before I even plugged anything, I just started like going down the road, just like insulting all of them. So like I think that burns in Lalo's mind. like, you know,
Yeah, I gotta tell you, I've been in it through all the Chicano wars. I was in I was one of the creators of Latins Anonymous,
mhm.
and we in culture class used to fight, a
Yeah.
lot. Battles, and there was Chicano Secret Service, and there was Latins Anonymous, and there's Culture Clash, all of us battling among each other. Someone, so like if we had found Richard Montoya alone, we would have jumped him. I knew the same thing. There's certain parts of Silver Lake I couldn't go to because they were there. Chicano Secret Service had sworn to kill me. Some real heavy shit, man. It was back
So
in the
like
day.
if you showed your face at like Cafe Troy, you would have been in a lot.
You'd be on. You know why? I walk in there and I'd see them just slowly getting up in the table. You know what's going to happen. And then I'm like going to the Coke machine, taking out cans of Coke and putting in a pillowcase because I saw that in a movie once. And I'm thinking this is how I take them all on.
Right.
That's the realness of that shit back then. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? I'm sorry. I get crazy. You're supposed to steer me away from this stuff. Keep me on
The straight and narrow, the straight and narrow. Okay, let's get back to the straight and narrow. So the book comes out.
Yes.
So tell us about like going on book tour with that particular one.
Great. Going on book tour, a lot of places, reading the book out loud, touching people, people crying, tears in their eyes and that stuff. And I would always be like, that's to me, it just seemed odd. Like people would literally cry sometimes, or they'd say stuff to me that was, kind of, it would blow my mind. I remember being on Broadway and the show was there and I was doing the show, right? And I go to the Sardi's, which is like this Broadway kind of, place, like old Broadway, like Carol, whatever her name is,
Burnett.
Carol O'Shawnee.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Burnett. I love Carol.
I was
Anyway,
picking famous carols, but go on.
golly, hello, that's the old type people, right? So I go there, and I'm in the restroom, I'm washing my hands, walking out. This is pre-COVID, so even that washing was probably long back then. I'm washing my hands, and busboy goes to the next thing, washing his hands too, and he looks at me, he keeps looking at me, and I'm thinking, oh shit, man, I probably didn't tip him well. I maybe forgot the other night. Sometimes we go there, we drink. Sometimes we wouldn't. We forget a tip or something like that. I was thinking, oh, I probably didn't tip him well. And and I always would tip the guys really well. That's probably why I got a picture in Sardis, because I tipped really well. But he looks at me and he goes, I I just want to say to you, yeah, you give me a voice who has no voice. Thank you. I was like, what? He goes, I saw your play last night. You gave me tickets. Uh, you give me a voice. Thank you. It was like amazing because a lot of the characters in Latino laws were all blue collar workers. The janitor was a worker, and people were kind of like, well, okay, well, how come you show the Latinos that aren't perfect, per se? And the president Cedillo came backstage at Latino Logs on Broadway, and he goes, Rick, I want you to know there's not all of us are gang members and bus boys or something. And I thought, you're pulling up in a BMW with bodyguards, and you're at Princeton, and you're really super rich. All this, and you're seeing this play, and I go, some, but those are the people that interest me. It's not the presidents, it's not the governors. It's just working class people, because that's what I came from. I came from working class. My mom was a waitress. My dad was a sheet metal worker. My grandmother worked in the canneries, was union organizer. My grandfather was a baker. People, they were ranchers in New Mexico. Folk, real deal. And I grew up in that world. So growing up in the world, I honor the working man. I grew up with one, and I'd see him every day. Get up in the morning and go to North Island Naval Air Station to work at a job he hated, to make sure 5 kids got food. And those are working men. My mom too. I don't mean to get all maudlin right now and do the whole thing for the working man, but I honestly feel that way.
No, that's beautiful. No, that's beautiful. Um, I'd let you know because I remember one time, I've had many jobs, and at one time I was working for my uncle, and he does like sound equipment, and so we were setting up sound equipment for the Starlight Foundation,
Mm.
and David Hasselhoff kind of like tripped over me and kind of turned around to give me a little back kick or whatever, and then and later on he gave a speech, and he was like, back in the '80s, there was a little show called Knight Rider. You may have heard of it, and I went to go see this boy who was dying of cancer. And I cornered his parents in the hallway and I asked them, how do you still believe in God? And they said, because you came, David. Because you came. So we can make a difference, right? So if you'd gone like that far, I'd let you know. Like your story, it was good. It was powerful. And you gave the guy voice. So had you, huh?
That one. I'm gonna try the David Hasselhoff.
No, that's a real story. That really happened. I may be exaggerating a little bit on how he kicked me, because he did kind of kick me, but like, kind of like, but in my memory, he like fucking hauled off and kicked me. He probably just kind of like,
was it like, hey, Brown Rider, Knight Rider needs the way Adam.
I wasn't even a rider. I'm like a teenager, like or like I'm like 20 maybe, and I'm just setting up like little sound equipment, like like.
Hey, low rider, get up. I can't see you. You're making.
Right. But his speech, him saying that is exactly what he said. I will never forget it. That was pretty. It was pretty.
Were you like blown away, like impressed?
I was.
Did he make you a disciple? I mean, the power of his speech.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, like, my memory. I remember him. I mean, like the whole. Remember that. I remember Jeff Goldblum dancing with the Pink Power Ranger. And like, like kind of like I was kind of trying to eavesdrop, listen to what he was saying. I couldn't really hear him, but like I could see his facial expressions. I remember.
Huh? I can imagine what he's saying to Pink Power Ranger dancing with.
But it wasn't the first Pink Power Ranger. It was the next Pink Power Ranger.
Oh, she wasn't even the first string
No,
Pink.
not it was. I think Amy Jo Johnson. No, it wasn't her. It was a different one. Anyways, but
It's.
huh?
I'm just amazed you know the names of Pink Power Rangers.
Yeah, well, that's about how old I am. I am that old. Um, but I also remember. Um, what else? What else happened? I remember. Steve, the guy from Full House. He called up Stamos and started like telling dirty jokes and stuff like this. This is a Starlight Foundation thing. It was really.
Hmm.
For those who don't know, Starlight Foundation is kind of like a knockoff of Make a Wish. So it was, or not. I shouldn't say knockoff. The competitors with Make a Wish, or I shouldn't call them competitors. Similar to Make a Wish. And that's
I might come up with another organization, a little bit lower key, um, called Make a Smile.
Make a lesser
Smile.
wish. You
Yes,
know.
we still get the money, but we don't have to make someone like blow their mind. Trip to Disneyland. Make them smile. That's all we
Make,
do. Just
make them.
make them smile. That's it.
Yeah. Make them chuckle.
Make 'em- I don't want to sit there and go. "Oh, I've got you a chance to run with tigers in Safari Land before you
Yeah.
die, young child." No. Hey, how you doing? All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. You're not gonna run on the safari, but we'll bring a goat to the hospital or something. It's kind of like.
Look, I got a rabbit. Look at the rabbit. See that? It's a rabbit. All right. There's the safari. Make a chuckle, and we're out of here.
Yeah.
You know. I Trump is kicking himself, thinking I should have thought of that. Trump's is like going, why do I do a presentation like that? That sounds perfect for me.
Yeah.
His
Um,
would make a kid uncomfortable. Just make a kid uncomfortable. That'd be his.
yeah. Read him the Great Gatsby or something.
Yeah.
Okay. So
You got me against the rope with these hard hitting questions.
yeah, I
You
know, I
got
know,
me.
no. Tell us about In Living Color.
Oh, geez, you're gonna bring that one up. All right.
I mean, like you know what? You just.
I seldom ever talk about it. I seldom ever talk about it, but it was a very, for you, I will, because you're Mexican American, Chicano, and I feel we're talking as friends. Just wish I had a Corona and a drink or something. But Living Color was great. It was amazing. It was an amazing time. I think it was like the show of shows, like in terms of comedians and all the comedy around it. I mean, it was you couldn't if we recreated it, you couldn't believe it. It was really that crazy. It was that insane and just accepted insane, you know, and race people, it was like race. It was right before the riots, the LA riots. So the tension was there. Tupac came to Living Color and got in a fight with his limo driver. It was everything. I mean, I was with rappers. I had guys look at me that they would say, some we don't need no Mexican here. Oh, we should have brothers. And so it'd get that way. I'd be like, really? They were like, top door and they put a joint, like not a real joint. That wouldn't have bothered me, but the fact that they just draw a joint. So it was a lot of racial stuff, but it made brilliant comedy. I mean, it was brilliant comedy at the time.
Yeah. So tell us about, okay, so like, like I just say that to like, let the audience know that you had a role in Living Color, and we can move on now that everyone's impressed. Can you talk about Latins Anonymous?
Oh yeah, that was the time in my life. I was young. Must have been 20s or something. It was like I was young, and I came to Hollywood. I was like, I'm coming to Hollywood. I'm coming to American Conservatory Theater in San Francisco. American. I learned standard American speech and mid Atlantic and all that stuff, which I thought was ridiculous. So I was coming to Hollywood, and I was like, I'm come from classical theater. I'm a classical actor. Worked in Oakville Theater in San Diego, all this stuff. I mean, really good theaters, all the way to Broadway now. They did not know what to do with me because when you go to Hollywood at that time, it was, for the year, but it was all cop shows, so either the cop or you're the criminal. So I was like on General Hospital as the revolutionary. Like there's the only role available, the revolutionary. So I did that role for a long time. Then I went on another show and I was this other thing, and I was then another one. I was a street thug, and then I finally was like, there was like Falcon Crest, and they're like, we want you to audition for Falcon Crest. And this is a real story. I don't mean to date myself, but I was a kid then, and they're like, I tell my agent, I don't want to do these roles. I'm not gonna play some gang member anymore. I'm sick of it. I'm so sick. I'm a classical actor, man. Why am I gonna play a gang role? That's ridiculous. So I didn't want to do it. And so he says, hey, Rick, they're not like a real gang. They're from the Napa Valley. There's no gangs in the Napa Valley. Just go there. Just be like a kid from the Napa Valley. So I go to the audition, dressed in a nice outfit and suit, whatever. Look like a guy from the Napa Valley, like a vineyard kind of character. Come there, dress a suit. Start reading, and I go, "Don't you ever go to my barrio again." It's like, "Don't you ever?" And I'm like, this is weird. So I'm reading it like, "Don't you ever go to my barrio again? You heard me. I will cut you. I will cut you." So I was like, so the woman just
I
looks at me.
reiterate.
I reiterate. I remind you once again, on pain of criminal procedure. So
Should you persist?
yeah, goes, that's it. Just cut. And I go, oh, I have two more scenes. And she goes, no, you're done. I don't want to see you. I go, not the other scene? No, goodbye. It's like, good day, sir. Good day, sir. So it's like I'm gone. And so it was like 2 weeks later, I got a phone call, my agent. Oh my God, Rick, they want you at Falcon Crest. They want you to audition for this character. And I go, oh, is it a callback? And he goes, no, you idiot. They don't even remember who you are from your last audition. They never want to remember that guy again. So you have to not let them know you auditioned for them before. You have to do whatever you did. Just don't do that because it was horrible. They remarked how bad you were. So I'm like, okay. So I put on brown makeup. My hair's like dark brown. I put that trench coat like from that era, 90s or whatever.
So you like J-Lo. You like put a bronzer on yourself.
Bronzing, man. I call it
Okay.
clown brown number 3. Clown brown number 3. So I'm putting it on, right? But I'm also this part of the movie. I'm putting my brown makeup on, but I'm crying. There's a tear. There it is. It still won't go away. And I'm saying it's okay. I'm just playing these stereotypes. It'll be cool. I'll stick around and get a better role. But at the time they're paying me, so I was like, most actors, let's face it, when they give you money,
Yeah.
you do what you got to do. I'm not proud. Sometimes you do a soap opera, you're not proud. You do a film, whatever. But I remember, you had to do those roles. So that's the atmosphere of what Hollywood was like and still is. It's not much better. It really isn't. Did that answer your question?
No, not at all. But it was good.
How did we get?
It was good. It took up time. Um, no, no, it brings us into conversation though. I remember I'm always trying to find ways to like improve stage performance or presence, and always find ways to do things. So I actually ended up taking this acting class, and I remember I was supposed to do this improv with somebody, and it was supposed to be this mother-son thing, right? And she was and I was gonna be mad, and we had to be mad at each other. And so I say to her, all these things. I make up this sibling in my mind, and I give the whole backstory, like, and that's why you never loved me the way you love Michael, and how could you do this? And then she like looks at me, she's like, well, you joined all the gangs, right? And I'm not sure she's aware that you can't join all the gangs. Like you can't.
Well, if you're undercover, and yes, you
Pilot.
can.
Pilot idea. Yeah.
Because then you're in every other gang, and like it's like I couldn't be in the Asian gang because that'd be so politically wrong.
Yeah.
In the Asian gang, the accent, the whole thing. I'm gonna get letters. I'm gonna get big time letters.
No, but
it'd be funny.
I'm seeing something in my mind now, like Nahara undercover, and you, Rick Nahara, join all the gangs. and you just get
man.
like these different levels of bronzer to mask yourself.
So I'm finally a Crip.
No, not that level. Not you know
Look at that
like yeah, no, but you just like find these different, and hairstyles and
MS face tattoo. Because
yes, and then like and
you
hentai,
you know how hard it is to leave that gang after that face tattoo, because if you get a face tattoo like that, that takes, that's a lot of commitment. I would sit there and go, look, man, I don't even want to go to any MS-13 whatever meetings today or anything like that, guys. I'm just gonna keep the face mask tattoo, but I'm not joining anymore. I'm done. I'm retired. Okay, so peace out. I'm retired. I'm gonna get my pension now.
I don't
I'm all
know.
money.
Yeah, I mean, I think you should weigh the pension plans of these various organizations.
Okay, is there a chance at a 401k?
I mean, like no, and then you could tell them like, well, that gang was offering this and this one. I mean, you can like you can leverage.
Well, I'd love to go like, that's really good, but the West Side Crips are offering
Yeah, that's right. They're offering they're offering a very competitive package.
very
Um,
competitive. And
no, okay, but anyways, but the point was that like here I was trying to take a personal, I was trying to create a world where in which me and her can operate. I'm her son, she's my mother. We have this strained relationship, and all she saw was that I'm Mexican, and therefore I joined all the gangs. And that kind of that instinct, that instinct.
but you got to throw it back. You go, Mama. They're flower gangs, Mama. They're flower. We make flowers. That's all
No,
we do. Flowers.
I was sitting there in my members only jacket. How could I think like I still hadn't
You got to be quick, man. You got
I
to be
hadn't
quick.
found my voice. I was still there in the members only.
I'm the veterano in the comedy world, so I'm
Yeah.
thinking quick. Gang, Mama, they're flower gangs. That's all they are. Got kind of a '40s voice. Ah, Mama, don't you know?
Yeah.
They're gangs. Gangs. So
Yeah.
I don't mean to scare any of your thousands of guests watching it, but I'm just pretty real.
This is destined. There are members of our audience, Rick Nahara, who will not be born for 200 years. So do not mock my efforts here. Yeah.
I will not be born for 200 years.
I write for the ages. That's I don't care if there's only 30 people or 10 people or one person at a time. I
That's the way to think. I also subscribe to that. I go,
write
look,
my name in the stars.
I've performed in front of thousands of people, or just, I performed at a taco night, Taco Tuesday in East LA, in a little club. I had 20 people, and they gave you a taco. I performed there. Now, sure,
Taco?
I'd gone through 10 years of crystal meth at that point. But the point was, I was moving slowly back up to not just taco night, but a Wednesday, or a Thursday flauta, something, anything. It was tough. Tough times.
Yeah, Friday afternoon, man. A casual Friday, wacky Wednesday, not just the taco. See, we got to break out of the Taco Tuesdays and get ourselves into the wacky Wednesdays. We are here 24/7.
I've been watching your show for a long time, and I'm a fan of your show.
3 weeks old, but I go on. Yeah.
I've been a fan. I've been from the beginning, from the launch, from the champagne bottle against the camera. It was a cute move. Against the camera, but okay. So you're learning the business. But I admired it, so I started really watching it, and you got that rawness that I don't think I have anymore. I'm too polished. I'm too perfect. I'm not allowed the chance to be raw as you are. And when you get your guests on the show and I see you break them down, tear them apart, build them back up again, slap them back down, push them aside, 1 time, 3 times, then they're out. I see you do that to your guests, but with me, I miss being that raw. So just hats off to you for the rawness. So like the studio behind you, was that like was that designed?
Yeah, I mean the drapes, everything. It's like I have, I mean before this I actually okay, so before this I actually have like cork boards and all kinds of stuff They have my writing projects on it, and I was just like obsessively sitting and working on them. And then I figured I needed to
You,
talk to people.
I was gonna come on the show, and I would be looking at your writing projects, and I'm ripping them off. You know,
Yeah.
I'd be doing. You
You
know,
know
I'd be
what
ripping
though?
them off.
I'll tell you what, Rick Nahar, you are not a giant until someone stands on your shoulders. You know what I mean? So
Wow,
you huh?
you're right.
Yeah. So I
Wow.
mean, like I was always worried about people ripping them off. I want people to steal from me. I want to be able to prove that they stole from me though, so that I can. It's no, it does me no good if they steal from me and I can't prove it. Then that's
That's and that can
that's
happen.
Hollywood.
That's how it's happened to me. I've had scripts ripped off and stuff like that. It happens. You know, on the whole, I think I've been a pretty good guy. I've never ripped off a single author. To me, that's the lowest thing to rip off another author. I just think it's like, to me, it's like they're a rat. You know what I'm saying? A rat. You rip off a writer, you die. You rip off a poet, you're dead. You're
Yeah.
dead. You rip off a poem. Take a verse, you're dead.
So who do you think are the worst in terms of theft? Comedians. We have a couple nominees here. Academics, or writers, meaning novelists, poets, etc. Script writers.
A lot of times you'll see your work in other people's writing. I've some of my plays I've seen the works of William Shakespeare. Did he rip me off?
Yes.
Yes.
Open question. So, you know,
I can't prove it. And that's good to your point if I have to prove it.
yeah.
So which one rips off more? Well, it's obvious, of course. The one who makes the most money, the poets. Oh, those poets. Those money grubbing poets.
Blatant plagiarism.
Always doing the little, poet movement with the $100 bills, making it rain, making it rain. I see that. And it's the poets. But
Yeah.
novelists, not so much.
You see it and you want to get in on it. I know.
Comedians, I don't myself, I don't, I've luckily say, hey, are you watching? Are you watching my interview? Oh, okay. That's my son. It's cool. Because he came out and did this, like he's happy, like I'm somehow doing something. Like, hey, I was like, what, is there something going on in there? I don't know. In my spacious office. But what was the question? Did I go off into a rant there?
The question was, tell us about Latins Anonymous, but that was like 40 minutes ago.
Jeez. Oh my god. Well, it was oh I gotta tell you, it was a rock and roll time in comedy. It really was. It really was a great time. There was no other time like it. It was like the punk rock for the Chicanos. There's Culture Clash. I mean, the Latins Anonymous was a group that I started with Luis Felician, Diane Rodriguez, and Armando Molina. And so we put together this group, and I want to do sketches. I did Second City Improv in Chicago with some of the top sketch players, so I understood sketch. And I liked it. I wanted to do it, and I figured I could have been a stand-up, but I didn't want to do stand-up because I'd rather be with other performers. So we did this show, Latins Anonymous. And we got together and created sketches. At the same time, Culture Clash was up there in Northern California doing their Culture Clash. And then the other time, Chicano Secret Service and Lalo was another group. So we had all these people. At one point, we were on a show on Fox Television where we had our own show called Culture Clash. I was one of the writer producers. My sketch, Cholo Trap in the Well, is our favorite sketch. It's really funny. And it was great. We could do anything we wanted to do because we had Chicanos and Mexicans, and we were all there, and Puerto Ricans and Latinos. And it didn't get every single station in the country because there's like 24 channels. That Fox, it wasn't even a network yet. And we did some really good stuff, really funny work, very cool stuff.
Yeah. So tell us about producing Culture Clash.
What?
Tell us about producing Culture Clash.
That was amazing too, because I think, well, I mean, I talked to Richard Montoya recently, and I want to work with him on a project, and he wants to work with me, and I think it'd be great because we a lot of times we were clashing back then, more for just sheer ambition. Just we want to make it, want to make it. And if this person steps in our way, we're going to get them and all this. So the atmosphere, not a lot on me because I've never been that kind of guy. Just if someone doesn't like me, they don't like me. I'm not, and I don't intentionally go out to hurt people because it's hard enough to create. You you have to be a vessel that is able to create. In other words, you can't be bad. You can't hurt people. It's like really weird karmic art thing that hurts your art, and I really believe that. You know, so you but at that time, a lot of people were mad and angry, and it was that. I mean, stuff, stupid things like someone accused me of being a Cuban. It became a big deal in the community. Hey, I think he's Cuban. Yeah, he's not even Mexican. He's Cuban. like, oh my God, don't destroy me with that. And some Chicano went up to me and we're at an event, and he's like, hey man, you just want to be successful, don't you? And I said, yeah, hell yeah. He admitted it. He actually said it. He admitted it. He wants to be successful. And I was like, you fucking idiots. Yes, you if you don't heal that wounded warrior inside you and allows you to go, I deserve to be successful. It's my right to be successful. Successful is the area I live and breathe in success. Because if you really want to be America's great again and all that stuff, America's always been great. It's been great trying to be what America should be, an ideal. And then where that ideal is always about we're so strong that we can help others. Because if you've got strength and you've got resources, that means you can give more. That's
Yeah.
the country that I believe in. That's the world.
Well, I think this weird like forced humility that comes like in the comes from, I don't know where it comes from, but like I definitely know it's there because I remember I was doing a reading not too long ago, and this guy came up to me, and he gave me the best compliment. And it wasn't like this gushy compliment. It was like literally like, I see what you did. So he's like, yeah, I really liked your poem because you got all this information in a short period of time. But it was like this, and it was like a roller coaster. It started here and moved. So he could perfectly describe what I do, and he wasn't even like, and it wasn't like, oh my god, you're so great. It was like it was exact reading of exactly what I did. He's like, that was really, it was like a really kind of smart comment. And I was like, oh, thanks, man. I really appreciate it. He's like, yeah, man, it's really great. Just a wow. I'm like, yeah, well, check it out, man. I pulled out my book to try and, see if you want to buy a copy. I'm like, look on the back. It says, this guy, Greg Palast, who's this famous journalist, says, Matt Cedillo, the best political poet in America. And this guy says, well, I don't know about the best. And like, after like, I'm fucking like 3 minutes of this shit. And then I looked at him, like, well, you don't know shit. And I walked away. No book for him. But like, but there's this like
book for you. No book for you.
no book for you. Yeah. Come back 2 weeks, my book. Right. But that was but there's this idea that we're supposed to be humble. And I don't mean be humble in the way that you earlier you're describing like writing stories about working class people, something like that, and just being like, and knowing that like this is a community, that's that, and there's no reason to be arrogant. I don't mean that shit. I mean the like,
we need to be.
Don't strive to be the best in your field. Don't be the best in your field. How dare you?
We need to look at this. If I write any book about my next book or whatever it's going to be, I would have to include a chapter that talks about the mental health of Latinos, our people, because the wounds are deep in so many ways. So if you've been excluded in terms of media and in terms of ever seeing yourself, or when you do see yourself, you see yourself in negative ways, and the narrative has been you're negative and you're foreign and you're the problem and you're this and you're that and you're too this, you're too Indian and too native and too this. Oh, you better be Spanish. They're a little bit whiter. Oh yeah, you're not good enough for those guys either. You're this outcast in your own land. That's a mental issue that people are dealing with all the time. They can't just go right to point A to B. They have to go point A to, do they not like me because I'm Mexican? And then they seem to be treating me differently. Is there something, is it my imagination? And then B, you know what I'm saying? You go through steps that other people don't go through. And that's the harshness of this all. We go through steps. I go through steps. Sometimes people look at me and they'll think I'm either successful or not successful or whatever. I don't know. I started just concentrating on who I thought I was in him and know myself.
Yeah.
Once you know that, you're able to deal with all this shit. But here's the problem: is to the Mexican psyche, the Spaniard was this haughty, arrogant, disgusting, angry, evil master. And then they had been conquered. So now they're the other side of the broken person, the broken nation, the broken country, the broken psyche. And so if you look at that and go, we lie in between. And the in between is just simply this: accepting how great you are. You are great. Why can't you see it? You're made of this amazing creature built from stardust and all these thousand things that the water that's ever been in the world has been through you as well as dinosaurs, and we're all part of this amazing cosmos, right? It's just amazing cosmos. And if we're in the amazing cosmos and we come from this amazing history and amazing people and all this shit, then we should say, yes, I am great. And my greatness does not take away from your greatness. And your greatness does not take away from my greatness. It increases our greatness. That's what the Mexican mind has to get. It increases our greatness. How many times do our own people attack us? How many times have you been attacked by your own people?
All done.
All the time. Imagine if one less enemy we had was ourselves, where we could be as a people. I think these things and I almost go into a trance thinking about this shit because it's so real to me. I see a vision for our people. It could be so good. That's what I see.
So okay, so how do we fight? I've asked this, put this to number of people who are involved in the arts in various capacities. How do we fight these two things we're fighting? It's like we face these simultaneous things that are these simultaneous forms of oppression, of misrepresentation and underrepresentation, right? And we're so grossly underrepresented, and sometimes it seems like in order to fight that, we allow ourselves to be misrepresented, right? So how do we fight these things simultaneously?
Well, I think at a certain point we have to say when it's our fault. As Latinos, we have to say this is our fault. And part of it is we as Latinos aren't demanding more Latinos to get jobs. When we get the job, we're not saying, what the hell, this guy's got to get in. This person, whenever I see a Latino get a show, I normally go, oh shit, that's one less show I'll work on. It's because most Latinos don't hire other Latinos. How many go through most any staff right now and figure out how many Latinos on the staff. I was on East Los High for Hulu. That staff, very Latino. Carlos Portugal, Charo Toledo, Chris Franco. I mean, just everybody. Mexican, Chicano, Puerto Rican, all the Latinos there, packed. And it was a good show. So it's when we do our thing and insist everyone join the party, we accept nothing but crumbs. These organizations, these media organizations fighting for Latinos. I'm sorry, man. I'm going, if we're in the state we're in, and these are organizations that are built to push up Latinos, they're not doing a good job. They're not. We need to take our own lives not for granted. We need to be in the driver's seat a million different ways. And you don't need, a studio or things like that to do smaller things that can turn into great things.
So how much is that? How much of that is fighting them? Fighting them for the airwaves, and how much of that is just building outside of them?
I think people, great examples, Robert Rodriguez. I remember Robert Rodriguez came to Hollywood and I met him before his mariachi movie came out. And I was doing in living color. So I asked him, hey, you want to come in living color and see the show? And he came. and I give him tour and all that stuff. And then I went and saw his movie, and I was like, wow, it's really great. It was really cool, and it was just nice meeting. And I was like, I think you're gonna be doing a lot of stuff, and something. I think he was like, people were coming up to him going, yeah, Hollywood and all that stuff, and he thought, not Hollywood, the world. I could see it, not Hollywood, the world. Pitbull did say Mr. Worldwide, and a lot of people do think that way, but that's how Latinos should think, the world,
Yeah.
everywhere. And I think part of it is there's going to be is thinking. I mean, I just had a great Indian director on my show. I sent him one of my scripts. Hey, read the script. Tell me what you think. Maybe I could make this a Bollywood thing. Maybe it could work in this way, or maybe I could make the character Indian from India, and what level would that would add. And then as performers or creators, you're looking at levels all the time. Okay, this would be great. This would be great because you want a rich soup of flavors, you know, and flavors are
Not ketchup and water.
no, not catching water, but like it's like this, you say just making it's Italian dish. Say you're making spaghetti, right? You take olive oil, you put in the olive oil, you put in fennel seed, you put in the ingredients, you put in this with the paste of the tomato paste, and you kind of fry it up a little bit, right? All those flavors just melting in there, all those fennels and every flavor, and then you add the garlic, and then you add the onions, and then you add mushrooms. You're layering flavor upon flavor and flavor. And in my case, you add the Beyond Meat, and you plant based. You put that on, and then you do this and you do that. You add the tomato sauce and maybe some roasted tomatoes, stewed tomatoes, and the flavors are just out of this world. That's what you want to build in all your artistic work. So if you're doing that, and you want that, you're going to want to think globally. You're going to want to think, not just, there's nothing wrong about doing a film, particularly about one area, but that's not the world we're living in. We're all affected. I say, let's join the world, and America has to go with it because we're Americans. We have rights. And I don't like this government.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about wait, we talking about. I was thinking about the example of Bruce Lee, right? So Bruce Lee gets his foot in the door, with the Green Hornet. There's a lot of interest in him, so he pitches a show. They steal his show. They give it to David Carradine, and instead of getting mad or just or I shouldn't say getting mad, but giving up, Bruce Lee goes to Hong Kong, becomes a giant star over there, and they beg him to come back. You know what I mean? That's how Enter the Dragon gets made. Now, of course, he tragically dies, but like he comes back and like changes the way that action films are done. Like after that, for years, people are throwing like karate kicks in like CIA movies, right? And that's because of the success of all the kung fu flicks. But that's the model of like getting slighted, leaving, building, and then they beg you to come back.
Yeah. Robert Rodriguez doesn't really work in Hollywood. He got it, Tyler Perry doesn't work in Hollywood. If you get to a certain level, you can either make your own Hollywoods. But Robert Rodriguez was making his Hollywood in Texas. That's what he was doing. He was taking his family and his wife and kids and
Yeah.
everyone else was in the movie making. He was giving plasma away, doing experiments to get money. Like they would do physical experiments on him to get money. Do you know about that? You know,
I knew he was selling his blood. I
inject
didn't know
him with
about I didn't know about the experiments.
yeah, injecting him with special booster of drugs that gave him visions of Spy Kids, of all those other movies in one afternoon. Just bam, all
Yeah,
that.
it's like
Proven.
Spider-Man.
That's proven. It's an Area 51 thing. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
telling the truth. So yeah,
yeah.
did I answer that question?
The
Right? Yeah.
question
How
was
hard he
about Latins Anonymous, and no. No. You answered the question quite well. Yeah, no, I he had a beautiful metaphor about spaghetti, um,
I
in
did.
there. I don't know if you remember. Huh?
I don't. I go in these trances and I just talk comes out my head, and then I go. I said what, and that's what
Yeah,
happens.
No, I was kind of wondering if that was gonna happen with spaghetti, but you brought it all home. You're like, and that's the kind of art you want to make. So I think if you like,
It
yeah,
is.
I think that if you lose your train of thought,
Mhm.
wrapping up with that's the kind of art you want to make, 90% of the time is gonna work for you.
I'm gonna remember that. Now, here's another one.
Yeah.
I guess it's a quote: "Man must create as he must breathe. Without life or breath, there is neither."
Did you make that up?
Yes.
That's what you want to do with your heart.
Beginning my poetry, going back to poetry.
All right.
That's the,
So I believe that might actually be an aphorism. Rick Nahara, tell us what is coming up. Tell us about this project, Nahara in America, and its future. It's what it has been and its future iterations.
well, Najera in America is
Here in America.
yeah, it's you know, Nahara always sounds cool to me because it's like because it makes me sound Japanese, and I think Japanese are cool people. So Rick and Nahara. All right, so getting back to this, Nahara in America is a show that I'm going to do. It's a new. It starts off as a podcast, and it's basically I'm going to make it about a washed up journalist who once had a thriving career and through a series of misplaced adventures and finding a bag of pot in front of him in a car in front of an elementary school. And he had to do serve some time in Georgia. It was a very harsh sentence. He's come back and now he's at a very tiny, tiny TV station somewhere. And he's doing the news and he's putting it on. And it's going to be topical because it's like the characters you can put on and do like I saw this one woman do the mayor of Las Vegas, the Anderson Cooper interview. And I said, if I have people like that, if we just show the world the news of America, I mean, I look at it and I go, look, Mike Pence said he wore a mask. And he goes, he didn't wear a mask. And he said, why? He goes, well, I want to look at people in the eyes. You know what that means? He literally thought you wear the mask over your eyes.
Yeah.
Now, idiot do we have as a vice president who thinks that way? And we all know the only reason he's vice president is because Trump knows nobody wants him as president. That's his. That's Trump's kill pill.
Did you
Nobody
ever see
wants
him?
Pence as president.
Yeah. Did you ever see when he was like staring at North Korea, like from the South Korea border?
No, what happened?
No, no, no. He's like standing there like he's like mean mugging a border.
Oh, well, that's projecting American power.
Yeah, that he had the leather jacket and everything, but he was like staring like he was like real. Yeah, he was like beaming. It was like a Care Bear, a non-Care Bear or uncare Bear
Yeah, I think just like
stare.
uh, not to hurt him, but just like a BB gun to the nuts or something like that. You know, get like a Korean sniper guy coming down there. I'm just gonna do this.
Yeah,
There
a
you are.
slingshot.
Yeah, it's slingshot, whatever it is.
Yeah,
This guy looks like he's just so about to crack any second now, just physically, just like break down and go to San Francisco or something, or just come out and become more of his fabulous self. I just don't. I just get this weird feeling about this guy. It
yeah,
just
yeah.
seems odd.
So I want to make sure I get this right. Nahara,
Yes, Nahara.
Nahara.
Well, there's people who's Nahara do that or Nahara or with me it's like they get my name first, Rick. It's like, oh, hello, Rick, and then it's Nahara. Oh,
Don't-
Rick. Oh, sorry, I stumbled. I stumbled with that name. It's Rick. Nahara.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what I was attempting to do. I don't know. I was attempting to.
How my career has been affected by going into meetings throughout Hollywood my entire career. Well, hi, I'm Rick Nahara. Oh, Rick Nahara. It's Nahara. Okay, look, it's no big deal, Rick. We just go Rick. You go, no, no, no. I want to get your name right. I want to say it correctly because the J is like an H sound, right? The J is an H sound. Okay, I'll try that. Rick Nahara. Nah. And so this goes on for like 20 minutes. And at the end of it, you have a very frustrated white person going, I hate your people. I'm so glad we took over their land and all things like that.
Yeah,
And they're
yeah,
just practically wearing a hook. They're sick of you.
yeah,
And
yeah.
that's what you using jobs doing that, you know?
Right.
That's, that's the way I looked at it. So yeah, that was my life.
Yeah. No, you say like, you sound like a like an aggressive person from that area of the country that's not the Midwest and not the South. I mean, like a Najera. You sound like an aggressive person from like Northeast Colorado or something. Like to me, to my
That's where
ear.
no, that's where we're from, Northeast Colorado.
That's what you
They're all
sound like. Yeah. All right. Well, okay. So
oh,
yeah,
Colorado.
Najera it is. Najera. All right. Najera. Najera.
There, that was it. Give me my rifle. Hey, get the nerve. Going in there.
Where do they make this salsa? They made it in Najera.
We need some goddamn Naharas to come in there and clean that band. Give me 5 Nahara brothers. Bring them in.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what we needed. That's sounds easier. The other one's like Najera. It's like an war cry. Najera.
yeah. Well, that's what I was calling you Najera because, like, to me, that was
Yeah.
okay. Okay, Rick, I know you as a professional Mexican, so like that's how you come into my world. So huh?
I've been about 9 years. I've been Mexican. I joined the Mexican train about 9 years ago. Or 7. No, 4 years ago I joined the Mexican thing. That's
No,
when I
I know
started.
you have a long and prestigious career, but I'm telling you that you come to me as a professional Mexican. So that's just like, like that's
Okay.
how you come into my life. So I'm trying to get this right, but you insist on this, Najera, and so I'll treat you like a Colorado roughneck too. I mean, I that's fine. Like that's like
Colorado Roughneck. It sounds like a moonshine, guys. We make whiskey here. Colorado moonshine. Nahara. God damn it. I get my Nahara, get my gun. Yeah,
yeah,
it does sound
get
like
Najera on the phone. Like
how,
God damn it. Yeah,
how did you say it? You said Nahara or what? How'd you say
I
it?
said Najera. Yeah, I said Najera.
Oh, that's now you say it better. You're saying it better right now. Last
I'm
time
saying it better
sounded
because you're making me self-conscious. So,
voice. Nahara?
hey man, the tape doesn't lie, man. We can review the tape later.
I want the jury to review that tape. And then
Yeah,
what? Big apology. Just it would be good because you could be like professional, be like, recently during one of our episodes of my show, I mistakenly said that Nahara pronounced my name this way. I was wrong. I apologize to
yeah,
Mr. Nahara. Then
yeah.
that's it. Do that. So
You want me?
bless you.
You want me to publish a retraction on the? You want me to publish a retraction not on how I pronounced your name, but on how I claimed to have pronounced your name.
Yes. The last one was fraud. That's what that
God
was.
damn it, Najera.
Fraud.
The things you ask of me. The things you ask. Well, Rick, it's been a great hour. I really, really appreciate it, and I hope to talk soon.
It's enjoy the evening, my friend. All
Yeah.
right. Good night.
Good night.